All right, let's have a look how they line up, because there's been some surprises here on the front row. Russell Ingall, Larry Perkins. The two Castrol cars have been first and second in the two races so far. Then Peter Brock and Dick Johnson. Now we come for Johnny Bow. Expect some fireworks. He had a big accident 2 days ago. Alan Jones was fired up yesterday. Wayne Gardner, they've done a great job to get the car back on the grid. Greg Murphy has been a bit of a disappointment, but has had some problems. Tony Longhurst is back further than we thought. Mark Noski is there. Johnny Faulkner, Stephen Ellery. A lot of cars here. Mark Scaife a long way back on row 7. Stephen Richards, Trevor Ashby, and of course Tratt is there also. Row 9, Thomas Mazzera back on a regular basis. Kevin Swans, the former 500cc champ, is there. He's doing it good. Smurden and Larkham. Heffernan, Poole, Crompton, Russell. Still they come. Palmer, Cotter, Walker, Steniken, Conway, Seaton. Look where Seaton is. He's had his problems. Terry Finnegan, the last car on the track. All right, there have been, in this V8 class, there's been 23 races, and we've had a lot of different winners, 8 laps. Watch for the start. Johnson in behind Perkins will be interesting. Here they go. Castrol get their power down first. Brocky starts to make a move on the outside. The run down to the first corner. We've had our problems over the first 2 races. Look at, oh, Eagle goes in. Brock round the outside. Now let's see if they get through. Yes, 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 yes. All through. That looks better, Johnny Watson.
Well, looks like after 2 races, they've perfected the first turn. Great start from Ingle, great start from Perkins, but under pressure from Peter Brock.
Well, that's actually a brilliant start. Peter's got sandwiched in there. The 2 shell cars very, very determined. Look like Bowie's just stuck on the outside, so hopefully they'll go well.
These cars are absolutely sensational around Albert Park. Oh, and there's a spinner, and I think we lost him yesterday.
There we are, Johnny Cotter, and contact in the 3rd corner, but we've got virtually the entire field. An 8-lap race. Those last 2 10-lap races were exciting. In 8 laps, it can only be better.
No doubt about that. Up front, it's going to be a battle. Let's look where Glenn Seaton is right down the end. Remember, they've started because where they're finished. Russell Ingall's done a boulder again. He has been so fast over the weekend. In behind him is the team boss, Larry Perkins. Done a great job. Watch for here. You'll see the red, white, and blue Falcon. There it is there. Glenn Seaton so far back. Unbelievable to see him there. Up front, though, look at Ingall. He's been fast all weekend.
He has. He's got another great start. He's obviously got a lot of clean air in front of him and behind him, so he's sitting pretty at the moment.
Indeed, Ingall just powers away from teammate Perkins. The battle behind with Brock, and the first of the 2 shell Fords.
The first of the Fords, but I tell you, Johnson's been great under the brakes. Under brakes, he's really been quick, and Johnny Bow as well. Perkins now, look at the Holden battle going on. Peter Brock, he's been up there, was the man who took pole for the first race, but has had tyre problems. They went to a softer choice of rubber, and it really failed.
It has failed. Unfortunately, the Bridgestones, look at Peter just sliding around a little bit already. He's, you know, he might be having a problem already. First 2 cars on Dunlops, then Peter on Bridgestone, and then Johnny Bow on Dunlops again.
And our old mate AJ starting to show some form. He's come out from behind. But the Perkins cars, the Castrol car of Ingall, just gone.
No doubt about that. Perkins now, Brock gets a little bit of a lead on Brock there, so in the straight line speed performance pattern, let me tell you, the Castrol cars of Perkins and Ingall have lost nothing to the HRT cars, but they've had the speed over the Fords.
They have, you know, Bowie's been the best of the Ford runners, and he's had to work very hard for the second race. He started up in the back of the field yesterday, and now he's up the front.
That blue car of Alan Jones, I just saw him go past Greg Murphy, so AJ's on the charge. Remember, that car has been sitting on the blocks all winter, has no money to go testing. There it is there, the blue car there now. Motorola and Komatsu have got him to this race, hopefully for the long distance race, but Motorola was just a last minute sponsor to come in and say, we've got to have you at an Australian Grand Prix. So well done to Komatsu and Motorola, but he's chasing the pack, this pack. Here's Perkins now, hasn't got the speed of Ingall at the moment. Brock all over the back of him, and then it's the 2 Fords. The Holdens have certainly had the speed.
They certainly have, and certainly looking at what Peter Brock is trying to do is reverse what we saw happen in the previous 2 races, where Brock led, but the 2 Castrol cars were able to get through.
Well, exactly. No, the Castrol cars have 1-2 for the first 2 races so far, and hopefully Peter can get up there and make a change.
Well, this is, I think, the most we've seen the field spread out since they came here 3 days ago. There's been chaos, there's been some big accidents, but the two Castrol cars have stayed well out of trouble the entire weekend. They've made brilliant starts, they've built on their leads, and they've driven very sensibly.
They have, and by the looks of it, Larry's just starting to pull away from Peter, so maybe Peter's having some tyre problems, and the Dunlop's obviously done a lot of work over Christmas, and they've got a great package.
Russell Ingall, somebody you're very familiar with, John Watson, because you've had a bit to do with him in England.
Indeed, he worked at Silverstone at the driving centre there in the racing school. He was teaching the customers that came along the arts and crafts of being a racing driver, and I have to say, the lessons he's been teaching people, he's been teaching the other competitors here this weekend as well.
No doubt about Larry Perkins, also a former teammate of Johnny Watson. But look down at this circuit, there's the lake. Look at the complex here. How anybody could say this hasn't enhanced Albert Park, I'll never know. It's green, it's lush, the lake looks terrific. It's just a beautiful racetrack set almost in the heart of the city. And when you look down there, you see the racing line that starts to establish. There's a black line around the circuit.
Well, what I like about the Albert Park circuit is there are a number of corners where you can get a really good flow. And in particular, in these kind of touring cars, they don't have the downforce, they don't have the grip, they look great on TV as well.
They are, and it's just a magnificent circuit. Driving on here last year, it's just a wonderful opportunity to drive it. Unfortunately, sitting up here in the commentary box this year, but at this vantage point, I'm looking down at the actual pit crew of the Mobile Holden race team, and they haven't got the traditional smiles on this weekend.
Well, Port Phillip Bay, and look at the lake. I mean, there's some of the city skyline. It's just a wonderful sight. And they've done a wonderful job. Well, Kevin Swanson's just been told he has to return to the pit, so there's either something on the car that's adrift or he's dropping some fluid on the racetrack, and they're very careful, of course, of the Formula One cars. They realise they're the major show here, and you've got to keep the track safe for them.
Yes, indeed, and it's always a bit of a contentious issue for the Grand Prix teams. They know that organisers need the support of local races to attract the crowds as well as just the Grand Prix car, but if there are cars on track there's the potential for oil or other liquids to get onto the track and possibly damage the track surface.
Russell Ingall, he's really enjoying his first two wins. It's been a new experience for him. I mean, he did win Bathurst with Larry Perkins. That was a great win, but doing it on a regular basis. He said yesterday, he said, I could really get to like this.
And I can tell you, it's a great feeling to be out there, especially in the dominating position he is. He's got, as I said, a great gap back to Larry, and he's just looking comfortable.
So it's Perkins in second place, and then comes the first of the HRT cars. That's Peter Brock. Murphy a little bit further back, then the two forwards of Johnson, of course, and Bow. New colour scheme this year. The Shell Helix has come in and really supported this team. Shell has been with Dick Johnson for many, many years, and he's really given them a lot of service back.
He certainly has, and I'm slightly upset because I expected John Bow to be further up, having had the disappointment in the first race, then having to start at the very back in the second race. Starting there on the third row of the grid, I'd hoped to see him further up, but we're missing AJ. He's no longer in picture.
Obviously had a problem because he was chasing the pack there, and I know that as he said, the car has been up. He's way back in ninth position, so he's obviously had a problem. But as I said, the car has been sitting up on blocks right throughout the winter. Anyway, let's come back to the race here, because the field at the moment a little bit strung out. Russell Ingall can only do what he's doing, and he's doing it so well. He's building and building and building that healthy lead.
He is. As I said, he's looking both the Castrol cars look very, very good. Larry's just got a break on Peter now, so hopefully they can finish in that order.
The way they're running at the moment, Russell Ingall out in front, and it's Larry Perkins, Peter Brock, Johnny Bow and Dick Johnson, and then Murphy comes up behind him. Gardner, Scape Jones, Faulkner, they're the top 10. And the V8s round here, are they a handful? Is this a place you really tippy-toe around some areas?
Well, definitely. There's a concrete wall all around. You have got the sand, the gravel traps, and it will pull you up if you unfortunately venture in there. But you've virtually got concrete walls. There is like virtually a tunnel vision, and it does get extremely hot in these cars.
Greg, just watching the action, I think the fact that Perkins, Brock and Bauer gradually drawing themselves back up to Russell Ingall. The gap was 2.3 seconds on the end of lap 3, coming up to the end of 4. We just have to keep an eye and see if that gap isn't just visual. Well, it still shows that 2.3, so maybe just the camera force shortened the distance.
I think you might find that Russell's just pacing himself. He doesn't need to push any harder than he needs to. He's already got the gap. He's looking good.
There's AJ sitting in behind Mark Scaife. There's a black flag out there. That's for Kevin Swans, number 75. So Kevin Swans has been black flagged in. We'll try and find out. Charles Stewart's over in the pit area. I'm sure he's on the run now to find out what's going on there. But as we're looking here, it's still Russell Ingall. He's doing a terrific job round the back of the circuit. Now, these cars, Johnny, I know that you're open wheeler experience, but you have had a touring car drive. Would you like to drive one of the V8s like this? I mean, I know they're dinosaurs, but they're spectacular.
Well, I'll tell you, when I watch what AJ does, I realise that because you've been a Grand Prix driver, it doesn't automatically mean you can jump into one of these and be competitive. This is a class in its own, and the skill of driving one of these cars is totally different to Formula One. So I'd want to have a private test first to find out how quick I was.
Well, of course, you drive both. You jump out of open wheelers back into touring cars. How difficult is that?
Well, it is, as Johnny Watson said, it's completely two different categories. It's virtually like riding a push bike to a motorbike. You just got to get used to driving one and then getting out of one and getting into another.
Well, here's a man that really spent a lot of time in open wheelers. He's done it the reverse. He spent his early time in open wheelers. Now he's come back in the touring cars.
Indeed he has. But I think the big difference that I find between touring cars and Grand Prix cars is that in a touring car, fundamentally, the quicker you go, and there's Gardner, I think.
No, Neil Crompton. Neil Crompton going off. Neil Crompton's come all the way back from the United States for this race because he's now taking part in the North American Racing Series over there. The fella called Steve Horn from New Zealand. You know a bit about him.
Runs a great team,
Tasman
Motorsport, indeed.
So he spent some time over there and will come back and join Wayne Gardner for the endurance races. So it's a bit of an ask, I guess, to go over there, do that, and then come back.
It is. It's a very long flight. You get jet lagged, and obviously Neil's come back to have a great drive. And unfortunately, he just exited the circuit not the way he liked.
The back of that picture there, you see a new colour scheme for the Coca-Cola cars. There's a big white bonnet of them now with Wayne Gardner racing on them. And I've got to tell you, he had a big accident here. You may have seen in our opening, he was up on two wheels and almost rolled the car and then had an accident with Tony Longhurst where he hit the wall. So just to have the car back and racing today and being competitive is a super job from the Wayne Gardner pits.
Yeah, great disappointment in that first race to see the car up on two wheels and out of the race. Then the penalty was, of course, come second race, very difficult to do anything. Now, in the third race, well, Wayne Gardner running just outside the top six in seventh place. He'll not be happy with that, though.
At the moment, though, it's Holden, and then it's like Ford, Holden, Ford. So the Holdens at the moment, that's that Wayne Gardner car there that you see. Now, see the new colour scheme. Has a white bonnet this year with Wayne Gardner racing on it, but that's an amazing job to bring it back. You're riding with Wayne Gardner now, and to have this car back and working, you can see the result of the accident the other day. Windscreen still a crack there, but they've done a great job to get it back and running. And Wayne Gardner, I mean, like everybody, budgets are tight this year. He's in seventh position, but just to have him back racing on the race day here, the big day proper, is a great job, and he's still lifting the wheels and having a go as he's always done.
Oh, he always is. He's out there giving his best shot, and just got to remember they're racing next weekend, so they can't afford to damage these cars too severely, so they've got to get them up and running again.
Great champion on two wheels, Wayne Gardner. I mean, over in Japan, to walk through the streets of Japan with Wayne Gardner, they throw rose petals at his feet and they call him Mr. 110%.
Well, I tell you, I've watched 500cc motorcycle racing. It scares me to death. I mean, Kevin Schwantz, one of my heroes on two wheels, what he did with a motorbike to find all gravity, all sense of balance. I mean, that guy is a genius, and Wayne Gardner was exactly the same.
That's Dick Johnson up in front of Wayne Gardner, so this is a good test of horsepower down this long straight here, because that's the Ford, here's the Holden. What do you see when you see shots like this?
It brings back memories. I'd love to be sitting in Wayne's car at the moment, but you know, he's obviously following Dick, and he's not losing any ground.
Good under brakes.
He is. The old Wayne Gardner's car is obviously set up very well. He's closing under brakes and not losing it in a straight line.
So come down into three, let's watch what happens. Closes up under brakes, but once they pick up the throttle, then the gap will resume.
John, there's been a big parity war in Australia to make sure that the Holden and Fords are as close as they can possibly be. And a lot of people thought that the parity went a bit too far. But as you see, very even racing. But I'm a bit surprised of the Holden dominance so early this season. I mean, this is the first appearance for the year for us.
It is, but I have to think that part of that is that what you see on the front of that green stripe of the car, it reads DUNLOP. that, I think, is why these cars are dominating.
And they were struggling on those Dunlops last year.
They were, and as I said, they've obviously done a lot of work over Christmas. Bridgestone and Yokohama have obviously done some work, but looks like Dunlop have virtually done a lot more work than others.
Ingle working the car hard. He knows exactly where everybody is. You see Larry hit the edge there and throw up a little puff of dust. And it's been very dry in Melbourne. This circuit, of course, heavily watered down. Looks a picture. Let me tell you, that's what people right around the world are looking at. Melbourne looks green and lush. In reality, it's very dry and brown. They've hardly had any rain down here at all. Ingle at the moment, though, he's just creating his own storm as he goes around this Albert Park. Very, very good. He's just seen working away there, using all of the road up. He's enjoyed 2 wins so far. If he can clean sweep it, that's amazing. Now, this is the 23rd race since the 1985 Australian Grand Prix meeting, and that was, of course, in 1985. But there's been 10 different winners. The most wins have gone to Jim Richards with 5. Johnny Bowers had 4. There's 8 former winners in this field. And Brock is the only driver who has raced in every one of those. Pole position has been won, or has won 12 of the 22 races. And the fastest time was set yesterday, Greg Murphy, all time.
And Wayne Gardner has finally made it past Dick Johnson. He's into the top 6 for the first time this weekend.
That's a big lap, you know, because that car was very, very badly damaged.
It was. The crew have done a tremendous job to get the car back on the road, and as Johnny said, he had to start from the back of the field. He's been working his little heart out to get back up to where he is.
Well, Alan Heafy, one of the most dedicated men, and Alan spent a lot of time in Europe in open wheel classes, has come back and joined Gardner, and they're very perfect. Now, here's the move here. Watch this.
Yeah, coming around the long way around the outside. This is coming up to breaking into turn 13. That's a very courageous move and a well-judged one. This time he got it done cleanly, took the position away from Dick Johnson, got into 6th place.
But obviously Dick might have missed a gear or something, you know, but this is the telemetry from Dick's car. It's fantastic. The little red light in the middle means the brakes in 3rd gear. The rev range about 5, 6, climbing up almost 7. You've got 7.5 rev limiter and doing 100, almost 200 kilometres an hour, working up, still getting there into 6th gear, virtually top, flat out here, hard on the brakes, as you can see, little red light, back through the gears, got the flip-flop through the left and the right, using all the road and a little bit more, and working up the gears again.
Yeah, nice stuff, isn't it? Terrific, the technology of today. And of course, this is the final lap now that you're seeing Dick Johnson going around chasing Gardner. He won't get Gardner from there, but look at this, a 1-2 finish. Larry's closed up. Russell's backed off, I think, to let the boss up a bit closer. But this has been a wonderful scoop for Castrol and the Holden cars, because Russell Ingle's going to take the flag again. He'll flash over the line for his 3rd win of this meeting, and that is amazing. And here comes Larry. Larry up behind him. Russell takes the flag. Larry flashes just half a car length behind, and Peter Brock will take 3rd. Johnny Bow will take 4th. But what a great performance for the Castrol Holdens. Wow, they have dominated this meeting. They have just blasted everybody away from the competition, and it's a very popular win, because I've said before, Larry Perkins not only builds his own cars, he does a lot of customer cars, and he tries to provide the most even balanced race car. If you buy one of his cars, it's basically what he's driving.
And I have to say, what a great confidence boost to Larry and his team for Russell Ingle. 3 wins in 3 days. You've now got maybe 8 or 9 winners since these races supported the Grand Prix, and Ingle has done all 3 in one weekend.
Craig, thanks for your time. I know you're very busy. You're back over the weekend, and then you're off to Europe again. Everyone in Australia has got our fingers crossed that it won't be long before you're back at Albert Park, sitting in one of Tom's open wheelers.
Thank you very much, and thank you for everybody all that's been supporting me, and hopefully by come next year we can be sitting in one of these Formula Ones. Yeah,
we hope so, mate. It's been a while since AJ's day, and let's hope that you can do it. All right, let's have a look at the top 6 for you, because Russell Ingle, he's done a great job. Russell, wow, what a performance. Larry Perkins 2nd, Peter Brock, good drive from him. Johnny Bow, great fighting back up with a badly damaged car 2 days ago. Greg Murphy back in 5th, and Wayne Gardner with that fighting performance that got him into 6th.